Imagine a civilization that flourished in the heart of Africa, creating architectural marvels so precise and awe-inspiring that they continue to perplex modern experts. Now, imagine that these structures were built centuries ago, without the tools and technology we rely on today. Great Zimbabwe is one such civilization, a place where ancient African ingenuity and craftsmanship still stand as monumental testaments to a once great empire. But what do we truly know about this mysterious place? Why has it remained largely hidden from history for so long? Located in the southeastern part of modern-day Zimbabwe, Great Zimbabwe was the epicenter of an empire that spanned from the 11th to the 15th century. But despite its grandeur, the story of Great Zimbabwe has often been overshadowed by the legacies of other ancient civilizations like Egypt and Greece. This raises the question, why don't we hear more about Africa's contributions to ancient architecture and culture? The ruins of Great Zimbabwe offer a glimpse into an African empire that was far ahead of its time, and it's time we explore its mysteries. The city of Great Zimbabwe is perhaps best known for its stone structures, most notably the Great Enclosure and the Hill Complex. These magnificent ruins have stood the test of time, surviving centuries of erosion, looting, and the ravages of colonialism. But what makes them so extraordinary? How were the builders of Great Zimbabwe able to craft these vast stone walls without the use of mortar, using only raw stones and intricate knowledge of engineering principles? And what role did these structures play in the empire's politics, culture, and religious life? Today, we are diving deep into the secrets of Great Zimbabwe, uncovering its history, exploring its architectural wonders, and shedding light on the enigmatic civilization that once called it home. From the rise of the Kingdom of Zimbabwe to the theories about its decline, we'll attempt to unravel the forgotten chapters of African history and rediscover the awe-inspiring legacy of this lost empire. Buckle up, because the mysteries of Great Zimbabwe are waiting to be uncovered. Great Zimbabwe, the namesake of an entire nation, was once the thriving capital of the Kingdom of Zimbabwe. Flourishing from the 11th to the 15th centuries, this city was not just a place of political power. It was the heart of an empire that spanned southern Africa. Located in present-day Zimbabwe, the ruins of Great Zimbabwe stand as silent witnesses to a sophisticated civilization that built one of the most remarkable ancient cities on the continent. The name Zimbabwe comes from the Shona language, where Zimbabwe means stone house, a fitting description for the towering stone structures that have survived for hundreds of years. At its peak, Great Zimbabwe was home to around 18,000 people. The city was an architectural wonder, housing royal families, traders, and artisans within its massive stone walls. The scale of the city is still awe-inspiring. It covered an area of more than 1,800 acres and contained hundreds of buildings, including the iconic Great Enclosure, which remains one of the largest ancient stone structures in Africa. The Kingdom of Zimbabwe, centered around this city, controlled vast territories and played a crucial role in regional trade. Great Zimbabwe was a hub for the exchange of goods like gold, ivory, and other precious commodities. Its location was strategic, connecting inland Africa with coastal trade routes that extended all the way to the Indian Ocean. The kingdom's wealth attracted merchants and travelers from distant lands, including Arab traders and even Chinese sailors, making Great Zimbabwe a melting pot of cultures and ideas. Despite its importance in ancient Africa, much about Great Zimbabwe remained a mystery for centuries. European explorers who first encountered the ruins in the 19th century were quick to dismiss the idea that this magnificent city could have been built by Africans. Many wrongly attributed its creation to foreign civilizations, such as the Phoenicians or Arabs. However, modern archaeology has shown that Great Zimbabwe's builders were the ancestors of today's Shona people, who constructed these monumental stone buildings using a unique technique that involved carefully stacking stones without the use of mortar. This remarkable craftsmanship has allowed the structures to stand the test of time, continuing to awe visitors and researchers alike. When you think of ancient architecture, you might envision the colossal pyramids of Egypt or the grand temples of Greece. But Great Zimbabwe offers a different kind of awe, one that stands out for its ingenuity and precision. The most iconic feature of the site is the Great Enclosure, an immense stone wall that spans over 820 feet in circumference. This structure remains one of the largest ancient stone enclosures in Africa and is an architectural marvel for several reasons. The sheer size and scale of the Great Enclosure make it a monument to the power and wealth of the Kingdom of Zimbabwe, but its real brilliance lies in its design. Built using the dry stone masonry technique, the builders of Great Zimbabwe used no mortar to hold the stones together. Instead, they carefully shaped each stone so that it fit perfectly with its neighbors. This technique allowed the walls to stand firm against time and weathering, with many of them still standing several centuries later. The Great Enclosure's walls are up to 36 feet high in places, and they demonstrate not only technical mastery, but also a deep understanding of engineering. The stones, fit so perfectly together, have remained intact despite centuries of weather, natural disasters, and human activity. The hill complex, another striking feature of this, offers further insight into the architectural genius of Great Zimbabwe. Situated on a hilltop, this structure served as a royal residence and possibly a religious or ceremonial center. The complex is made up of multiple terraces and walls built into the natural landscape, giving it a unique blend of human craftsmanship and natural beauty. From this elevated vantage point, the ruling elite would have had a clear view of the entire city, underscoring their dominance over the land. Perhaps most remarkable about the architecture of Great Zimbabwe is the use of materials that were readily available in the region. Unlike other ancient civilizations that imported their building materials from distant lands, the builders of Great Zimbabwe relied on the local granite rocks that littered the area. The stones were carefully sourced, shaped, and transported to the site, with no need for complex tools. This incredible feat of resourcefulness, combined with the builders' knowledge of engineering and design, is a testament to their expertise and the significance of the civilization they created. The true purpose of the structures in Great Zimbabwe remains a subject of much debate among historians and archaeologists. While it's clear that the site served as a powerful center for the Kingdom of Zimbabwe, its exact functions continue to spark curiosity. The Great Enclosure and the Hill Complex, in particular, have drawn attention for their possible spiritual and ceremonial roles. One of the most popular theories is that the Great Enclosure was a religious center, possibly used for royal ceremonies, rituals, or as a place to honor ancestors. The size and grandeur of the structure suggests that it was not merely a fortification or a residence, but held a deeper spiritual significance. Its circular shape may have symbolized eternity or the cyclical nature of life, and some scholars believe it could have been a place where the king, regarded as a divine ruler, would perform rites to ensure the prosperity of his people. Another theory proposes that the hill complex, with its elevated position, was a royal residence or a center for political power. Situated atop a hill, it offered the ruling elite a commanding view of the entire city, which could have been a practical advantage for overseeing the kingdom. The terraces and walls of the complex are intricately designed, and many believe that it was a place where the king and his closest advisors would have conducted important governance matters. From this perch, the elite could maintain a strategic advantage over both the city and the surrounding region. Additionally, some scholars believe that the hill complex could have had a more symbolic function. It may have been a space dedicated to ancestral worship, where the royal family sought to communicate with the spirits of their forebears. The idea of ancestral veneration was an integral part of many African societies, and the spiritual connection between rulers and their ancestors may have been visually represented in the positioning and layout of the complex. There's also the possibility that Great Zimbabwe was not just a religious or political center, but a trade hub, essential for the kingdom's wealth. The Kingdom of Zimbabwe had a thriving trade network, connecting to regions as far as Arabia, India, and China. Great Zimbabwe's proximity to natural resources like gold and ivory made it an important center for commerce, and the monumental structures could have served as a visual testament to the wealth and power accumulated through trade. The abundance of beads, porcelain, and Arabian coins found at the site suggests that Great Zimbabwe wasn't just an isolated kingdom, but part of a larger, interconnected world. The decline of Great Zimbabwe remains one of the most intriguing mysteries of African history. Despite its immense wealth, power, and architectural grandeur, the city began to fade in the 15th century, and by the late 1400s, it was abandoned. What caused this dramatic collapse? While no single factor can be pinpointed, several theories provide clues about what might have led to the kingdom's fall. One of the most widely discussed theories is the environmental factor. Historical evidence suggests that the region experienced periods of drought and climate change, which may have contributed to the collapse. Great Zimbabwe's economy was heavily reliant on agriculture and livestock, and prolonged droughts could have decimated crops and caused severe food shortages. Furthermore, the overgrazing of land by cattle may have led to soil degradation, making it more difficult to sustain the population. As the natural resources of the land dwindled, the kingdom may have struggled to support its population, forcing people to abandon the city in search of more fertile areas. Another theory centers around political instability. As the kingdom expanded, its leadership may have faced growing internal challenges. Rival factions within the ruling elite or disputes over succession could have weakened the central authority, leading to a loss of control over the vast territories that the kingdom had once dominated. The political fragmentation may have made it easier for rival powers, such as the Mutapa Kingdom to the north, to gain influence and eventually replace Great Zimbabwe as the region's dominant power. Furthermore, the decline of trade could have played a significant role. Great Zimbabwe's prosperity had been fueled by its strategic position along important trade routes, connecting Africa's interior to coastal markets. However, as time passed, the rise of new trade networks and the shifting focus of international commerce may have made Great Zimbabwe less relevant. The growing influence of other coastal cities, such as Sofala, which became an important trading hub for the Portuguese, could have led to the gradual economic decline of Great Zimbabwe. Some historians also believe that the kingdom's decline might have been related to the breakdown of its social and religious systems. Great Zimbabwe's rulers were deeply tied to the land and its ancestral spirits. If the ruler's spiritual authority began to erode, either due to internal strife or external pressure, the faith in their ability to lead may have diminished, further destabilizing the kingdom. In some cases, changes in religious beliefs or practices could have sparked social unrest and divisions among the people, contributing to the collapse. While the exact cause of the decline remains uncertain, what is clear is that the fall of Great Zimbabwe marked the end of one of Africa's greatest ancient civilizations. Its abandonment didn't mean the end of its legacy. However, the ruins of Great Zimbabwe have continued to capture the imagination of historians, archaeologists, and visitors alike, standing as a testament to the grandeur and complexity of the kingdom. The story of Great Zimbabwe remained largely hidden for centuries. While it was known to local communities, the site didn't gain significant attention from the outside world until European explorers rediscovered it in the 19th century. In 1871, a man named Karl Mach, a German explorer, became one of the first Europeans to visit the ruins. Mach was struck by the grandeur of the site, but he was also puzzled by its origins. At the time, many European scholars believed that such a monumental site could not have been built by Africans, and Mach himself initially attributed the structures to the Phoenicians, a seafaring people from the ancient Mediterranean. This misinterpretation was part of a larger colonial mindset that often dismissed African civilizations as being incapable of constructing such sophisticated structures. It wasn't until the early 20th century that archaeologists and historians began to challenge these preconceived notions. Excavations led by scholars such as Gertrude Caton Thompson in the 1920s helped establish that the builders of Great Zimbabwe were indeed the ancestors of the Shona people, indigenous to the region. Her work, along with that of others, slowly dispelled the myth that foreign civilizations had built the ruins and instead highlighted the genius of African engineering. The rediscovery of Great Zimbabwe also sparked renewed interest in African history and culture. For many, it became a symbol of Africa's rich past and an assertion of the continent's ability to produce highly advanced civilizations. The ruins of Great Zimbabwe have since been designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, ensuring their protection and recognition on the global stage. This recognition has helped foster a sense of pride in Zimbabwe and Africa as a whole, showcasing that African civilizations were not only rich in culture but also in architectural and scientific achievements. In modern-day Zimbabwe, the legacy of Great Zimbabwe plays an essential role in national identity. The country's flag, for example, features a depiction of the Great Zimbabwe ruins, symbolizing the nation's connection to its past and its people's resilience. The ruins continue to inspire Zimbabweans and Africans worldwide, serving as a reminder of their ancestral heritage and the heights their forebears were able to reach, even in the face of adversity. Great Zimbabwe's influence extends beyond Zimbabwe's borders as well. The site has become an important cultural and historical reference for African identity and heritage. Its rediscovery and subsequent recognition have helped reshape the narrative of African history, ensuring that the story of Great Zimbabwe is not lost to time, but instead celebrated as one of the continent's most significant achievements. Despite the wealth of knowledge we've uncovered about Great Zimbabwe, many mysteries remain unsolved. The most pressing of these is the purpose of the stone towers and their exact role in the kingdom's society. While some believe the Great Enclosure served as a royal residence or a religious site, the precise function of these structures is still hotly debated. Were they temples, fortresses, or ceremonial centers? Archaeologists continue to speculate, but there's no definitive answer. The absence of inscriptions or written records leaves us with only physical evidence and educated guesses. Another mystery is the identity of the kingdom's rulers. Though we know the empire was led by powerful kings, there is a lack of concrete records about the individuals who once governed. The oral histories passed down through generations offer valuable insights, but many of these stories have been lost over time, making it difficult to piece together the exact lineage of Great Zimbabwe's rulers. Were they viewed as divine figures, or did they serve more as military leaders? Without more direct evidence, we may never know. The ultimate cause of the kingdom's collapse also remains unclear. While we've discussed theories such as environmental factors, political instability, and the decline of trade, the full picture of why Great Zimbabwe was abandoned is elusive. Perhaps a combination of factors contributed to its downfall, or there could have been other causes, like disease or internal strife, that we haven't yet uncovered. What's most fascinating about the decline is how quickly and mysteriously it occurred. For a civilization that was once so advanced, its rapid disappearance leaves us questioning what could have happened. Yet, despite these unresolved questions, the legacy of Great Zimbabwe continues to resonate. The city's architectural feats, the wealth it generated, and the cultures it nurtured live on in the stories of those who study it and in the pride of modern Zimbabweans. Great Zimbabwe has shown us that African civilizations were just as capable of creating enduring legacies as any other. Today it serves as a symbol of Africa's rich history and its ongoing journey of rediscovery. As we wrap up our exploration of Great Zimbabwe, we're reminded that history is never truly forgotten. The ruins may stand silently on the hills of Zimbabwe, but their legacy is very much alive. The questions we still have only make it more intriguing. And perhaps, as new research unfolds, we'll uncover even more secrets that have yet to be revealed. But for now, we can appreciate the wonder and mystery of Great Zimbabwe and the profound impact it continues to have on our understanding of ancient civilizations. The civilization of Great Zimbabwe may have faded into history, but its legacy remains as strong as the towering stone walls that have withstood centuries of time. From its intricate dry stone architecture to the wealth generated through trade, Great Zimbabwe proves that African civilizations were capable of achieving feats that rival those of any other ancient culture. Although many mysteries still surround the site, including its exact purpose, the identity of its rulers, and the cause of its decline, the story of Great Zimbabwe continues to captivate and inspire. As we continue to explore the ruins and uncover new evidence, the significance of Great Zimbabwe will only grow. It stands not just as a testament to the brilliance of its builders, but also as a symbol of African history, identity, and culture. Today, the ruins are more than just an archaeological site. They are a reminder of the complex, sophisticated civilizations that thrived in Africa long before colonialism reshaped the continent. So, as we conclude our journey through the ancient city of Great Zimbabwe, we're left with a profound sense of awe and curiosity. What other secrets do these stone walls hold? And what other forgotten civilizations are waiting to be rediscovered? If you enjoyed this exploration of Great Zimbabwe, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share your thoughts or questions about this ancient wonder below. I'd love to hear your theories. And remember, history is full of hidden stories, so stay tuned for more fascinating deep dives into the mysteries of the past.